Moving on to Tosfos.
Okay.
Aval.
Aval, but im hu locate linkor al yad liknot o davar achila.
Yeah.
So, but if he were to harvest,
And this here means collect. Right? Yeah. He's collecting, like in other words, he has fruits, things that fall off, whatever. It could also mean harvest as well, but to make it simple for now, he's collecting apples and from the field. Okay. Well, what's his intention?
to sell them, to sell them. Al yad liknot bo so that he can buy with it davar achila, of food.
Yeah.
Ein davar zu skora. That's not skora.
So what's Tosfos adding? I mean, it's not a significant point. He's just showing the counter to what he said before. What's he saying? Go ahead.
So it also.
We also learn.
Yeah, we also learned in Perakul of Argazel. Mavlia dame etro belulav.
Okay, so let's just stop for a second before we go on to Tosfos, because you have to understand what that is. Okay, so the Mishnah on Succa Lamates Lamadav takes up the case of. We're going to get into Havlah, but what's the Mishnah? The Mishnah is that if I'm going to go ahead and it gets purchase, if I'm going to purchase a lulav, now called like a lulav set, okay, but a lulav from my friend, okay, a lulav from my friend. So what do I have to do? The Mishnah says, no sinlo esrog the matana. So when I make the purchase, what would I do? In the purchase itself, I would give the guy the esrog as the matana. Okay, so how would that? We'll explain how it works in a second.
Wait, so you're lacking. Wait, you buy a set of lulav and an esrog.
But you're only paying for
the lulav.
And he's giving you the esrog as a matana. Ostensibly, why? Why is that? Why is the okay? Let's kind of intuit certain facts here. Okay.
So there's what?
Well, there's not. Well, think more intrinsically.
So
what would be the problem if I'm selling an esrog? Schora. Okay, the problem would be schora. Right, but 1 second. Oh, okay, is it? Hold on. Why not the lulav? Why not the lulav?
Good question.
Well, the answer's got to be only one answer.
That's not the fruit of the tree.
No, lulav doesn't acquire the chalosh and shvius. If lulav became, if there was an idea of shvius by lulav,
the tree, and that's the fruit of the tree.
No, it just doesn't acquire. There's no such thing as a lulav shvius.
So why? Because it's the tree.
It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. There's no such thing as a shvius lulav, but there's such thing as shvius esrog. So, what's the solution to get out of this transactional problem? You go ahead and you're mavlia it. Okay, mavlia means to swallow.
Swallows it.
But exactly, the lulav swallows the esrog. Okay, so now again, when you make the purchase, so what happens? You go to the guy. Let's use a practical case today. Okay, let's say I run a shop, and I want to sell a pair of shvius, and I want to avoid. Now, I think Johnny said that before, avoiding demei shvius, right? So, okay, that's where it's practically used. I want to avoid demei shvius. How do you get around the problem of demei shvius? Simple. You come to my supermarket, my eggs are $5 a dozen, and my fruits are $2 a pound, right? You buy a pound of fruits, what do? I charge you $7 for the eggs, and I give you the fruits for free. Okay?
Can you do that?
Rashi's explaining the Gemara clearly indicates it's the case of an Amaretz. Okay, why?
haaretz legabe chaver lo kari lechavero.
Right, so an Amaretz in relation to his friend isn't really called his friend. Gemara, the term Amaretz is a very vague translation in Gemara. Sometimes it's used as like a real negative thing, like for instance, a relationship between Amaretz and Talmud Chacham. It says the Amaretz hates the Talmud Chacham.
Is it lulav?
That's derogatory to Amaretz. Here, we're talking about someone. I think someone said before, like a simple person. It's more like ignorant of halacha. Okay, ignorant of halacha. Why is that important? Keep going. Okay, so what does that mean? It means like this. Okay, what's chashin? All right.
Mavlia dame etro belulav.
Okay. Uvelo havla. But let's say you didn't do mavlia. Let's say you didn't do havla.
Okay. Uvelo havla. So let's say you didn't do havla. Nami hayam mutar.
Mutar.
Nami hayam mutar.
It would meaning what?
That would be okay.
It'd be okay. Okay. There's havla. Havla is a mechanism to ensure it's to help out the Amaretz, but it will be okay. The transaction will still be okay if you didn't use havla.
Yeah. Okay.
Why?
Il male tano de mosrin demei parashvias la'amaret.
If it were not for the reason, okay, Elmali, if it were not for the reason that we don't want Amaratzim dealing with Demei Peor Shvias. In other words, we don't want them handling money that's Kedusha Shvias because they don't want to do with it. They're going to end up buying a car instead of buying food. Okay? They won't know how to treat the Demei Shvias. But therefore what? Mashma, I'm sorry, Alma.
Mutter limkor.
Stop.
Mutter limkor.
So therefore, what is he telling you? That there's no problem whatsoever in the normal sale of the esrog. So if I go to buy an esrog from a guy, okay?
In other words, that's not schora.
Right.
That's what he's saying.
Okay. So it's not schora. Now, what is...
Amazing how fruit can be called
No. What's
also because of the
Right.
because morons sell it.
Fine. Okay, but you're right. But that's okay. 1 second. But the main point though is that right now this transaction, okay? If I go to Yaakov just sells esrogim.
Yeah, he's a top.
Of course he's done Chacham. Yaakov. In fact, I'll make the extreme case. Yaakov has 2 lulav sets. One is his own, and the other one he's looking to sell. I go to him and I buy. I'm a Talmud Chacham. I buy the lulav and esrog set normally, no problem whatsoever. Okay. What's everyone missing here? There's a question here that should be jumping out at you. What's the question? What's the problem in this case? We just established before that it's clear that if I'm going ahead and doing a small transaction, it's not schora.
Are you eating the esrog?
Oh, okay. So are you eating the esrog?
If you're not, is that food or is that like using for missile?
All right. So Yaakov just got the ball rolling. Now, so start flushing that out a little bit. What are we talking about here? Yeah, that's my favorite term. Flushing it out.
Oh, this is where the whole.
Jonathan was right about that. So that's why I love Tosfos.
That's why
It's not food. It's not business. It's God.
Right. What's Tosfos doing? He's introducing another category in a very subtle way. He's bringing in this other category. You see, by the way, that's why if you read these things just bekias, like you'll never
Why are they
know.
so sneaky? Why doesn't the Gemara be
It's
very,
Tosfos.
very philosophical
Tosfos?
though? Like I'm saying, why doesn't the Gemara say this is category 1, this is category 2? It's like crazy.
Why would you think this is a problem? Because when you're purchasing the esrog, right? What are you doing? Your intent to purchase it is clearly not la'achla
Or schora.
or schora. So what is it?
What is it?
So what do we learn out from it though? This is the move you have to make. But if it's not, but there's a problem. If it's not la'achla or l'schora, so why do you assume it's not a problem? So now comes conceptually you have 2 roads you can take.
Right.
I want to hear.
One is rochnias achla.
No. Oh. Okay. I'm really not feeling well. You're making me feel worse.
What?
I'm really not feeling well. You're making me feel worse.
Oh no, that's not the point of rochnias.
That's right, 100% not. So come on. So what do you think? So tell me. So there's 2 roads you could take. In other words, we're left in this weird category. I'm buying the esrog, but it's clear that I'm not. It's the intent is not la'achla. Okay. So now you have 2 possibilities. What you could say about what the status of the esrog is right now.
Can we say it's an NA? Is that possible?
What's one road? One road you could just say is that it
It
exists in
is
this.
the 3rd category.
This is its own category,
It's a
or
modification of one of the previous 2.
good, but it can't be a modification of schora, right?
Why?
Because it's not schora. So what must be a modification of?
You're bribing God.
La'achla. Now, how is the modification of la'achla?
Because you're not actually eating it.
More abstract than that.
How is it?
Uh oh.
How is it a modification of achla?
You're
Yeah.
not using the fruit.
Wait. I swear, you understand logically why it makes more sense to go that way
Then sora.
than to start saying no. Forget schora. To say it's its own new category. It doesn't make sense. It's its own new category. It's easier to say that it's modifying. You'll see
I
why.
don't know if I agree.
Oh, okay, you don't have to. You don't have to. I like to be very concise. So in this area,
It doesn't
so what?
make sense to my mind.
So you would think what? You would think la'achla means,
Eat to eat.
meaning when I buy it, it has to be what?
Edible food.
Okay, well, it is edible,
Right?
right?
It has to be, you have to know that it's for the purpose of eating.
Okay, so what makes it so? Now what? Now Maskana is
Apparently not.
Nah.
why?
Psych.
Why?
Love says so. Why?
Why?
I don't know.
The etrog, maybe it is still food, I guess.
Okay, it's still food.
I mean, after Succa.
Wait.
After Succa.
No. Actually, I thought that originally, by the way. Just so you know, just to get
Still food?
just to go my train of thinking. First, I said, okay, maybe you'll say that. Maybe you'll say that.
Let's put
Just be
it
quiet.
on.
Be quiet for a second. Maybe you'll say that. You'll say that's not a bad approach. You could say, well, 1 second. It's only during this period of time that it's not food. But you're right. But you gotta just go a little further than that. You can be a little more conceptual.
Could the buyer, the one who's selling it to you, can you say that I'm selling this to you?
Really, the esrog is really davar ochel.
That's a weird thought, but okay.
Oh, it is. It's a. What do you mean? It's a citron. That's what it is.
Okay.
Now, what happens during Sukkot?
Its status is subdued.
The thing, the ochel is aser la'achila. But the question is something aser la'achila removes chaloshem ochel or not?
No,
That's Tosfos' Chiddush.
Okay, so achel.
Beautiful Tosfos is saying. Tosfos is telling us is that you would think that since my intention is not la'achla, therefore it removes the
just like a Zora.
right. But you see, but the point is, it's not my regardless of my intention. The point is, I'm buying an esrog, but the Torah comes along and says that this ochel is aser la'achal. That doesn't mean it loses chaloshem ochel.
Right.
It's still an ochel.
It doesn't function the same way Zora does.
It's not schora. It's not even schora.
Okay,
it's still la'achla.
Okay, well,
That's why this case is so important. You see why? You gotta. This is annoying, by the way. Okay.
What?
So the Mishnah says like this. He says there's a Mishnah in Shvi'is that says the following: Lo yehel lokeach. Now, what does lokeach mean in halacha? Kenyan. Okay, so I can't go purchase vegetables in field A to sell because that's no different than the first case. But what can I do? Okay, what I can do is locate. Okay, which means what?
Collect.
Ubno, meaning my son, right? Mocher al yada,
Sells them.
on my behalf.
So your son.
Okay, on my behalf. So now you got a really bizarre case here. In other words, Tosos is coming up with a new heter.
Okay, you swallowed your son.
No, it's not havla. There's no havla. We're done with havla.
So your
We're done
son
with it.
sells it for you?
Yes, on your behalf.
How
So-
old is his son? Is that
he's over bar mitzvah. All right.
over?
Yeah. He's a lachic Jew. He's a lachic Jew. No, he's right. That's a smart question. He's saying maybe you'll say because he's a cut and he's not over the yisr. No, we're talking about the key point here is that I'm not the one selling it. It doesn't have to be your son. The point though is that my son and I are in business together. So what do? I go collect the vegetables. He sells in the marketplace.
He's somebody else.
So he's like a shliach.
Well, like I mean, it seems like
Yeah.
It seems like there are like two different steps.
Okay, good. So you're already picking up on the right idea. There's something going on here with some sort of break in the flow, right? Okay. Keep going, Tosfos.
Mashma, Yafilu Lechatchila.
Meaning lechachila what?
Where are you?
Lechachila, that is no problem whatsoever of me collecting vegetables from the field and having my son sell it on my behalf.
I just said Mocha Aryada.
What does that mean?
It means like this. It means just like what you said. In other words, because it seems like the two steps involved, so lechachila, normally I can't go collect from A to sell to B. But what I could do is I could collect from A and someone else can sell to B. Then it's okay. But 1 second, you guys are all about what? What was the word you guys kept using over and over again? Intent. What about intent? His intent here is clearly
It's the same.
to have it sold.
I mean, what if you? I mean, I guess you could treat them as two separate entities.
Why? You're correct. That's what it is doing. I want to know how that works.
Because the intent.
Because I would say, if we're all talking about intent, so what do I care? Oh, he's a
Who does it? Doesn't matter
shaliach.
who does
Exactly. When I collected
Intent
those
is-
Yerakos, my intention was one thing: to get them sold in the marketplace, right? To sell to someone else in the marketplace. It wasn't to sit there and eat them. It's clear.
You see that the gaver that the
Lokeach fruits. I purchase fruits to sell in the marketplace. The seifa is I collect fruits and my son sells it on my behalf. So maybe you'll say this. Maybe you'll say,
the ratio is one person and the safe is two.
yeah, it's more than that. One is,
Can you say Yafilu Bashuk?
and even in the shuk. In other words, there'd be no problem whatsoever in me collecting vegetables and selling them at a profit. That's the implication of lokeach. Lokeach does not include locate, but the hadar tani. But later on, we see what?
Hadar means later on.
Yeah, meaning in the seifa. That's what he's trying to get across. Right after that,
The hadar tani, locate, ubanu mocher al yado. So okay, fine, that's what it's hot.
right,
Hal limkor bashuk aser.
and therefore selling the shuk, and it seems like selling the shuk is asur. What does he mean?
Okay. Venira. So when it appears, now it's the answer. The yesh b'mishnah, b'reisha, tod sofer, v'garis b'shneihem.
Locate.
Locate.
Okay, stop. Okay, we're just gonna. This is the natural stopping point here, and we don't have to go further. So, what's his answer? The old easy way out.
Yeah,
Right.
somebody screwed up.
Right. So it didn't really say lokeach. It said locate. So okay. So now, but isolate. So what features the problem?
I didn't get words.
Oh yeah, no, he says don't read the Reisha saying lokeach and never meant to say lokeach. It always meant to say locate. So now let's read the Mishnah again.
What difference does it make?
It's very simple. If I'm the
it's all
Reisha
in
is
the world.
no, the Reisha saying the Reisha.
What do you mean it's solved?
Well, yes, the Reisha saying that if I'm locate to sell, that's usher. But if I'm locate and my son sells, it's mutter. So mechira isn't the problem.
Oh, it's.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Locate's not the problem. It's only mechira.
Right.
No.
Okay.
That's wonderful. Girsa comes in.
Yesh liyashiv hagirsa.
Okay, so Tosa says maybe there's a way to make lokeach and locate work with each other.
Yeah.
Okay, how?
Vashmayinan didin lokeach velocate shavin.
Okay, so now this is critical. Now he's gonna. What's he saying?
Shavin to Vashmayinan.
No, just shavin. Okay, so he's saying maybe we thought beforehand that there's a difference between lokeach and locate. In other words, you would think there's a difference between purchasing fruits and collecting them, but he's saying there's no difference.
Why?
There's no. In the very lokeach, it's nicker that I'm using it for business because it's a finance.
Was
But
it-
in
was
lo,
nickering?
it's recognizable,
Okay.
right? It's clear. But in locate, if I'm collecting vegetables, is there anything in my action that indicates that I'm using it for anything other than food? I could be using it for schara, but you don't know.
It's not yet a score category.
Right, exactly. Locate doesn't rise to the level of schara. Okay, that's Tosa's first way of learning.
Not yet.
So that's why he changes the girsa. He's saying the girsa is fine. He's saying the girsa has to be a case of locate because if it's lokeach, then it would never be mutter. What?
Please drop a Zora.
That Tosa says really how to look at locate and lokeach. It doesn't go based on what you're doing. It goes based on obviously your intent. Okay, and therefore in both cases, right, it's also limkor b'shuk.
Yeah.
Okay, the reisha. But 1 second. But what about the difference in the cases?
Okay. The Reisha ton of lokeach. So the Reisha taught that you bought it or something like that. You acquired it. The
Hu hadin.
the hu hadin. Is that nonetheless?
No, locate. And so too it applies to locate. Meaning,
So
when the Mishnah says lokeach, what does lokeach mean?
It doesn't matter. It's the same.
It's like the same thing as locate.
Exactly. Lokeach means lokeach plus locate. There's no difference between the two. They're synonyms.
Yeah.
As well as the seifa.
Seifa.
And before?
The hu hadin lokeach.
Right. So in other words,
And before?
before what?
Locate Yurik, all that is.
All those mean when the Gemara uses the term lokeach and locate, the Mishnah use them interchangeably. There's no difference between the two.
So-
why?
Well,
There's only one way you can ever answer why there's no difference between the two. Because it goes based on intent. It goes based on your das, on your intent. That has to be the mechanism for differentiation.
It can't be the lack of money or presence of money.
No.
It has to be intent.
It has to be intent.
Okay.
That's the only way to equate the two.
So now Ratos would just say that we do already have the first category of Zora.
Right.
He's making it easier on me, but I did have it 2 minutes ago too.
Okay. So now that's it. So let's just stop here. So now let's define this. Okay. So what's the we still haven't answered the main question we asked before, which is that okay, very nice. So Tosos is giving us a clever way to solve the problem of the Mishnah, but we answered the issue of what's this idea of having limkor as beno? Why do you have to have that for?
What is the name though?
That's the trap here.
This is a trap.
The trap is that Tosos forces you to say that locate and lokeach are really the same thing. If they're the same thing, then what drives
Bechira. I have Bechira.
good. It's just a noise. It's like the crinkles. Okay, so what drives
Sorry.
if locate and lokeach are the same? Okay, if locate
Remember last year,
yeah,
the things were like over here,
Yeah.
and I won't put it here.
right.
You don't remember?
No.
Can't.
I was trying to be nice though. So if locate and lokeach are really the same, if they're really the same, so what determines the fact that it's schora? My intent.
Well,
So
the
it's
first category intent.
right, but no. So therefore, what's the difference if it's mocher? Now you can answer this. What's the difference if it's mocher beno or not? If anything, it should make no difference whatsoever. Who cares if my son's selling it on my behalf?
The Chetzo, which in this case is a Gavra, that the intent acts through.
I was going to read this quickly. It says V'lei supply. It says Demeya Esrog Behedra. So he says my taima ain Rasha. Same Tosos. My taima ain Rashai locho. Right. So why would you ever assume it's a problem for him to go ahead and purchase the lulav and esrog? Di'imishum the asur la'aso schora b'peir shvius. Maybe you'll say the reason why is because it's forbidden to do business transactions with peir shvius. Lo chashav schora. It's not considered business here. Why? Ella ki yahida masech shvius. Parak Zayin. This is just like the case in Shvius, the Mishnah. Lo yeheh lokeach yirako sada mocher b'shuk, avahu lokid v'no mocher ayado. Now, one extra thing. Lokach la'atzmo, the hosir, also mutar limkor. There are two cases where it's mutar limkor. Okay? One case is, I collect, and my son sells on my behalf. The second case is, I collect 500 cucumbers, or whatever, 50 cucumbers, I eat 48 of them, and anything left over I'm allowed to sell. The Mishnah is saying those cases are comparable. Why? Comparable.
Well, in the second case, your tin was not necessarily.
Lokach la'atzmo v'hotir, mutar limkor. Right?
It's comparable. Can I get a comment on what service you're offering to?
Good job, Dylan. So Yaakov's saying, good job asking for the compliment. Yaakov's saying what? Yaakov's saying that let's not ditch what we were saying before. What were we saying before? The issue is that when is schora a problem? When is schora a problem?
Intent.
Well, no, that's factually. What's the idea? That in the schora is
Intent to ball out.
intent to ball out, right? In other words, but what's it doing? So let me just throw out the first. Just get the ball rolling, okay? There's two ways you can understand
Out the door.
There's two ideas. No, it's not. The two ideas. When you say schora is a problem, there's two ideas. There's two ways to express that.
Yeah.
It's really one overall concept. But there's two ways. One way is to say that when is schora a problem? Okay, when it removes the chal shem ochal that we established before. Okay.
And how do you do it? With intent.
Just hold on with that. Okay. The other way is, and again, let's be careful here. The other way to say it is that I prevent. Okay, I prevent through my actions. Okay, the shem ochal of ever emerging. For instance.
So is it in?
You'll see why. Hold on.
Can you say that like?
It would have to be mufkal shem ochal from the beginning. So again, the svara is like this. The svara is that it's not that this is super abstract. Okay, it's not that schora is the problem intrinsically. That's the transaction itself. Because if that were the case, we'd never be able to answer this problem.
Right.
Rather, what's the issue? The issue is that at what point is the shem? What's the isser? What is the isser of schora? It's not the actual schora. It's not the actual transaction. It's the point in time when the shem ochel is removed. Okay, so that's mufka shem ochel. Where it's no longer shem ochel. So where could that happen? So let's take the case the guy buys in bulk. Let me just finish. When the guy buys in bulk, what Tosa is telling you is that by definition, I don't care what his thinking is. By definition, a wholesale purchase, right, to sell, his wholesale purchase is nicker that is mufkal shem ochel. It's not the schora thing.
But only to him, which allows his son to come in and.
No, forget the son for a second. In the first case, the first case in Tosfos, okay. Now in this case, it's a similar thing. When the son comes along, you can't say that it was ever mufkal shem ochel because the son's going to sell in the marketplace. It was never mufkal shem ochel. That reality never was able to emerge.
Wait, what?
Because you're correct. That's a nice way to put it. In other words, it's a difference between. You're right. It's a difference between is it being purchased. Say it.
You know,
you really forgot?
Perfection only happens once in.
That's it.
Once in the.
What a brain! So it's amazing how I could just be lost.
I'll say the idea, but I can't.
Say it again. Just say the way you just said it was perfect.
I know that I can say the idea similar, but I can't hit that. The wording was perfect. Right.
So again, the question is it that he's picking it with the intention to sell it, right? Or is it that he's picking it for it to be sold? That's how you put it. That's me saying. Is it mafkil shem ochal, or is it he's using it for schora? In other words, he's picking it for it to be sold. No. So Yaakov, you're hitting on a very. You're right. This is where in my mind this is the line. Okay, where I can't go further. Why? Because you're right. But that's the tricky issue with Shemitah in general. No, you're right. These are all subjective type of phenomenon. Right. So now. I know what's bothering you is I'm trying to weave a very sneaky thread here.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the truth is that in halacha l'maisa, that's what ends up coming out. In other words, there's this. I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It's very similar. It's one of those areas that you can come up with nice faras, but at the end of the day, it's always troublesome. Brachos. Okay. Why by brachos? Okay. So let's say I have a slice of pizza. Okay, and are you and I supposed to down a slice of pizza? Are we doing the same ma'aseh achila?
We're supposed to what?
Are we doing the same ma'aseh achila?
No, I didn't hear you. We're supposed to.
You and I having a slice of pizza. You have one slice, I have another slice.
Yeah.
Okay, we sit down together. Okay, are we both doing a ma'aseh achila?
Yeah.
Is it possible that you make a mazonos and I make a hamotzi?
Maybe it's a different shitas?
No, just halacha l'maisa. What situation would you make a mazonos? It's very simple. You're not that hungry. You're like a little hungry. You haven't had a snack. You make a mazonos. I'm kaveh suda. I make a
So
motzi.
it's, okay.
Okay, it's similar to here. But that's very frustrating.
That's very clear intentions, though.
No, I know, but I'm saying like this. I'm saying that you think the mice is the same, but you see your intention does change to some extent. Okay, why am I saying that's similar here? Similar here because it's similar type of phenomenon. There's what's taking place. The guy says, I am purchasing the vegetables to do what? To sell them.
Right.
Okay, but that's his intent. Okay, but the thing is, what Tosa is telling you is that the only way so if it goes based on just the schora per se, right? If it's just based on the schora, which is the transaction, all right, the business transaction. So the moment I purchase it to sell it, it's mafkila shemochal, and then it's no different than the bulk case.
For it to be sold.
Right, for it to be sold, right?
Right.
But Tosa is saying, I think what Tosa is saying is that if you learn that way, then the bulk case there's no difference between the bulk cases. There's no chiddush here. What Tosa is saying is that. How should you learn? And also, it should make a difference if your son sells it. What's the difference if he sells it or not? If it goes by the schora, the moment I purchase it for it to be sold, who cares who sells it? Why is that relevant?
Well, no, but I'm just talking about how